In this video, I'm going to share with you 6 things that you can do to have a really successful meeting. Hello there, welcome to Work Tips Pro. This is where we help professionals like you stand out among their peers. My name is Mukhtar. A lot of people are not fans of meetings, and there are reasons for that. 67% of workers say spending too much time in meetings distracts them from doing their job. According to Atlassian, 91% of people daydreamed in their meetings. 39% slept during a meeting. I have run a lot of meetings and I've learned a few things on how to run really good meetings. And no, nobody has slept in my meetings yet. Alright, let's go into the 5 tips. The first tip is to know the type of meeting you're running. According to this McKinsey article, there are different types of meetings. A meeting could be a decision meeting, it could be a discussion meeting, or it could be an information sharing meeting. And each of these meetings have different types of outcomes. So for example, the typical outcome for decision meetings are actions. The typical outcome for discussion meetings are considerations. And the outcome for an information sharing meeting is awareness. Speaking of outcomes, the next tip is to be specific with your expected outcome. Don't just say the outcome of your meeting is to discuss the problem. Instead, say by the end of this meeting, we should have identified the root cause of the problem and have some concrete next steps. I can't tell you how many times I've thought, doesn't everyone know the expected outcome for this meeting? Isn't it obvious? And when it comes time to type up the agenda, I struggle to be succinct with the expected outcome. So I highly recommend that you go through the exercise of being specific with your expected outcome in your agenda. And we're going to talk about agendas in a minute. The next step is to know your tools and techniques. How do you want to achieve the outcome? Depending on your meeting, you might need to use different tools to achieve the outcome of your meeting. For example, are you going to use a prioritization framework, a decision-making framework, or a problem-solving framework? And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to link to a video that goes into some of these frameworks a bit more. The next tip is to identify the key players. Who do you need in your meeting that can help you achieve your outcome? This is pretty straightforward, but the next tip, on the other hand, many people forget. The next thing you want to do is you want to set expectations with your key players. You want to let your key players know that this is the outcome and this is how I'm hoping that you would help achieve the outcome. If you haven't met them before, it might be good to reach out to them to establish a connection before the meeting. It might seem like it's taking you more time, but trust me, it's worth it. I remember there was a time that I was chairing a meeting and one person voiced a concern in the meeting, and then another person piggybacked off that person's concern, and then another person, and before I knew it, the entire room went from a positive/neutral position to a negative position. And that now put me in a defensive position where I had to defend the project. So had I just spent 15 minutes speaking to about 3 or 4 people before the meeting, I could have been in a much different position. I could have saved my time. I could have saved the headache of trying to now build alignment in the face of opposition. Or at the very least, I would have come to the meeting prepared to deal with the opposition that I was going to face. The next tip is to prepare an agenda. You want to create an agenda that takes into consideration all the tips we've just talked about. And I'm a big fan of keeping agendas simple. So what is to be discussed and for how long? Sometimes you might need to add more details depending on your meeting. And if you can, plan to finish your meeting early. If you do so, you would earn extra points from your meeting attendees. There are some common mistakes that we make when it comes to meetings. And these mistakes can really cost you. If you want to know what these mistakes are and how to deal with them, click on the playlist to the right if you're watching this on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to give this video a thumbs up. See you in the next video.